Now, the last thing you say in the video is, "We aren't a people that are going to go quietly into the night." Recall that part?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that phrase, "we aren't a people that are going to go quietly into the night," that's not something that you came up with on your own, is it?
I have no idea what she means.
Well, that's something that you borrowed from a movie script, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. You borrowed that line from the movie Independence Day, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't view courtrooms and politics as Hollywood like you do. That is not the first person I'm sure that said that, and won't be the last. And I don't recall getting any inspiration from this Hollywood movie like you're suggesting.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about this important story that is flying under the radar, okay? A story about our democracy and free speech, as Democrats once again are attacking democracy as they are coming after duly elected congressional representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for her speech leading up to the January 6th riot / protest, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I want to say off the bat, this video is not about whether or not you agree or disagree with what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. It's simply about the fact that they are trying to keep her from running for office, being eligible to run for office due to her speech. And what's going on here is that there are a group of voters out in Georgia that are suing Marjorie Taylor Greene, basically trying to disqualify her from office using a rarely cited section of the 14th Amendment that deals with insurrectionists and rebellion. Basically, a section of the 14th Amendment that was originally meant to keep Confederates from running for office to avoid them regaining power during the Reconstruction period back after the Civil War. Yeah, they're basically trying to throw Marjorie Taylor Greene in the same bucket as Confederates. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. Again, it is all really kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And today I want to talk about another ridiculous take from Miss Tiffany Cross, aka Miss Joy Reid Light, or Joyless Reid, and her lunatic liberal sidekick Eli Mistal, as they have some commentary on what is going on with this Marjorie Taylor Greene trial that I want to talk about, okay? But before I get into that, I have to play a clip so that you guys get context on what they're talking about here, as Marjorie Taylor Greene is being accused of perjury because she's giving the answer of "I don't know" or "I don't recall" when it comes to a lot of the questions that are being asked of her in regards to some of the statements that she made before the whole January 6th thing. Take a look.
And you spoke to some people about those demonstrations prior to being sworn in as a representative from the 14th District, right?
I don't remember.
And you spoke to some of those people after you took the oath on January 3rd and before the 6th, right?
I don't remember.
Did you speak to anybody in government about the fact that there were going to be demonstrations in Washington on January 6th?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so lefties are outraged about the fact that she's saying that she doesn't remember a lot of things they're accusing her of saying or doing before January 6th. And I want you guys to listen to this take here from Tiffany Cross and Eli Mistal, in which Mr. Mistal argues that Marjorie Taylor Greene is only able to get away with saying the things that she's saying in court because she is a white woman. Take a look.
I'm curious, what could her argument possibly be? She was clearly involved, and I'm just curious your thoughts on what repercussions this case might have on other pro-insurrectionists who are currently in office or currently running for office.
Well, I don't think there are going to be repercussions because she is a white Republican woman, quite frankly, right? Black people cannot get away with this. The evasiveness that we saw at her trial yesterday, at her hearing yesterday, where she all but perjured herself, versus the tape that you just played, Black people cannot get away with that. And everybody at home knows that, right? Everybody at home knows that if Rashida Tlaib, if Ilhan Omar, if Ayanna Pressley had tried what Marjorie Taylor Greene tried yesterday, they would have caught a perjury charge before they validated their parking. Now, some people are going to say, "Oh, how you bringing race into it? Because I'm a white man." And I don't like to think about the privilege that is cloaked and shielded my entire life. Like, I understand that there are going to be people who are that obtuse. But at the end of the day, what Marjorie Taylor Greene did was perjury. And if she was a non-white person, she would be at least investigated for that. In fact, if she was just a Democrat, she would be at least investigated for that. You know how I know that? Because I am old enough to remember when Republicans impeached Bill Clinton for less. All right, that the evasiveness that Bill Clinton did in his deposition was less than what we all saw Marjorie Taylor Greene do yesterday. Is there going to be investigation? Is there going to be impeachment charges? No, nobody actually thinks there will be, because Republicans and white people get away with this all the time.
Yeah. So I told myself I would stop doing videos on this guy's takes because they're just so ridiculous. And they're just ridiculous for no reason. He simply is trying to up his brand, okay? He's trying to get on more shows than just Tiffany Cross's show and Joy Reid's show, which is the only two shows that will have him, okay, consistently, put it that way, because everything else the guy says is irrelevant. But again, he says things that are so ridiculous, I just have to respond to it. Now, in regards to whether or not Marjorie Taylor Greene is committing perjury by saying that she doesn't recall or she doesn't remember, I really don't know, okay? I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the nuances of that. At the end of the day, if she says she doesn't remember, only thing I can do is just say, well, maybe she doesn't remember some of the things that she said, okay? But regardless of the things that she said, what I do know is that the whole trial, what is happening is a farce. It is an attack on free speech. It is actually an attack on democracy, okay? Because regardless of whether or not you agree with what the things Marjorie Taylor Greene said before January 6th, doesn't matter. That is her free speech, okay? And what they're trying to do here, what people like Tiffany Cross and Elon Musk and the people that are suing Marjorie Taylor Greene, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to basically take away her right to run for office because of her free speech. They're arguing that her free speech incited violence, okay? Her free speech, along with objecting to the election, means that she's an insurrectionist, right? That's what they're arguing here, okay? And what's funny about this, what I find to be absolutely hilarious about this, is the fact that Elon Musk just went through this whole diatribe about how, only white women can get away with this. Only white women Republicans get away. Black people can't get away with what Marjorie Taylor Greene does, okay, because she's white, okay? And I'm sitting here thinking, I can name you right now one black woman Democrat who has routinely got away with the exact same things that you guys are accusing Marjorie Taylor Greene of doing. The exact same things that Marjorie Taylor Greene is currently on trial for right now and possibly facing the punishment of not being able to run for office again for, okay? And that Democrat is Miss Maxine Waters, who has a history of using rhetoric that can be defined as calls to violence during political speech. Take a look.
We've never on Twitter or nowhere else heard you do anything but call for justice, never even remotely call for violence, never even remotely call for violence.
Never even remotely call for violence.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. The people are going to turn on them. They're going to protest. They're going to absolutely harass them until they decide that they're going to tell the president, no, I can't hang with you.
Not in D.C. Not in the U.S. Not in D.C. Not in the U.S. Not in D.C. Not in the U.S.
Oh, what a moving evening this is. I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him. And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Ms. Congresswoman, what happens if we do not get what you just told? What should the people do? What should protesters on the street do?
I didn't hear you.
What happens?
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Yeah. So I don't know how in the world you can characterize what Marjorie Taylor Greene said as a call to violence and incitement, but not what Maxine Waters have said. Okay, I would love to hear Mr. Eli Mastal here explain to me why in the world is this black woman able to get away with her rhetoric that can be interpreted as violence during her political speech, but Marjorie Taylor Greene can't, right? This white woman Republican is standing trial for this stuff unjustly, by the way, but this black woman isn't, right? How do you explain that, Mr. Eli? Because I thought white folks get away with everything. Not only that, Maxine Waters also objected to the election as well when George Bush was in office. Take a look.
Is the objection in writing and signed by a member of the House and a senator?
The objection is in writing, and I don't care that it is not signed by a member of the Senate.
The chair will advise that the rules do care, and the signature of the senator.
So straight out of Maxine Waters' mouth, she objected to the re-election of George W. Bush, okay, and then said, I don't care, right, if I don't have a senator or somebody else to back me up here, I'm objecting because, I didn't like the outcome of the election, okay? So if Maxine Waters and Democrats do that, it's fair game. You're just going through the process that they have in Congress that you're constitutionally allowed to go through. But when Republicans do that, though, oh, no, they're insurrectionists, right? Maxine Waters, again, goes out here and, uses rhetoric that can be interpreted as violence during her political speech. No, that's just political speech. You don't worry about that, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out here, does the same thing. Oh, nope, she's an insurrectionist. She's inciting violence. Again, Democrats, they have no standards, man. They have no standards. They won't hold themselves to the same standards that they hold, Republicans to, okay? But this guy wants to go on TV and complain about how there's some type of, I don't know, advantage or privilege that you get for being a white woman Republican. When I'm like, okay, if that privilege existed, how do you explain Maxine Waters not being on trial for literally the exact same things that Marjorie Taylor Greene are being accused of? I don't understand, right? Again, these are the same people who, for 4 years under Trump, basically told America that, hey, you know what? The only reason Trump is in office is because of the Russians. It's because of Putin, okay? Basically trying to falsely discredit the 2016 election, okay? They spent all this time doing that. But now they want to go after Marjorie Taylor Greene for the accusations that she made, as if, again, this is unprecedented, right? That nobody's ever made those type of claims before, when Democrats have a history of doing the exact same things, and they have not been punished for it. They have not been held accountable for it, right? But if you listen to this guy, if you are a Democrat and you're not white, you're guaranteed to be punished, right? You're guaranteed to be punished. But the reality is simply not that. The reality is the opposite, right? The reality is that if you are a Democrat and you are a so-called person of color, you're much more likely to be able to get away with this stuff. And if you're not a so-called person of color and you're a Republican, you're going to be in the same situation as Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? That is the reality of the situation. And it is a damn shame that they are literally trying to overturn the will of the people, because that's what they're trying to do. Over this woman's free speech, okay? The people in her district elected her to be in office, and they've been trying to get her out of office ever since then, okay? They simply do not respect the democratic process or the will of the people in her district. But these same people want to lecture everybody else on democracy. It's really funny. Actually, it's not funny because of what's happening right now with Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is not a funny situation at all. It's actually really effed up, okay? It really is. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.